10 Psychology Tricks You Can Use to Influence People. Before we begin, it's important to note that none of these methods fall under the category of dark arts of persuasion. Anything that could be harmful to someone in any way, particularly their self-esteem, is not included. These are psychological techniques for making friends and influencing people without being a jerk or making someone feel bad. Number 1. Get favors. Trick: get someone to do you a favor, also known as the Benjamin Franklin effect. According to legend, Benjamin Franklin once wanted to win over a man who didn't like him. He asked the man to lend him a rare book, and when the book arrived, he graciously thanked him. As a result, this man, who had previously refused to speak to Franklin, became good friend with him. To paraphrase Franklin, he who has once done you a kindness will be more willing to do you another than he whom you have obliged. Scientists decided to test this theory and discovered that those who were asked for a personal favor by the researcher rated the researcher much more favorably than the other groups. It may appear counterintuitive, but believe it or not, the theory is quite sound. If someone does you a favor, they are likely to rationalize that you must have been worth the favor, and thus they must like you. Number 2. Aim high. Trick: ask for far more than you need at first, then reduce your request later. This technique is also known as the door-in-the-face approach. You begin by making a ridiculous request of someone, which they will almost certainly reject. You then return a short time later and request something far less ridiculous, the thing you actually wanted in the first place. This trick may also appear counterintuitive, but the idea is that the person will feel bad for refusing your first request, even if it was unreasonable, so when you ask for something reasonable, they will feel obligated to assist you this time. Scientists tested this principle and discovered that it worked extremely well as long as the same person requested both a larger and smaller favor, because the person feels obligated to help you the second time and not anyone else. Number 3. Names. Trick: depending on the situation, use a person's name or title. The author of How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie, believed that using someone's name was extremely important. He stated that a person's name is the most beautiful sound in any language for that person. Because a name is such an important part of our identity, hearing it validates our existence, making us much more likely to feel positively about the person who validated us. However, according to the as-if principle, using a title or form of address can also have significant effects. The idea is that if you act like a certain type of person, you will eventually become that person. It's sort of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. To use this to influence others, refer to them as what you want them to be, and they will begin to think of themselves in this manner. This can be as simple as referring to someone you want to be closer to as a friend or mate whenever you see them, or referring to someone you want to work for as a boss. However, be warned, this can come across as very corny. Number 4. Flattery. Trick: flattery will actually get you everywhere. This one may appear obvious at first glance, but there are some important caveats. To begin, it is important to note that if the flattery is not perceived as genuine, it will cause more harm than good. However, researchers have studied the motivations behind people's responses to flattery and discovered some very important findings. Simply put, they discovered that people seek cognitive balance by attempting to keep their thoughts and feelings organized in a consistent manner. So, if you flatter someone with high self-esteem and it is perceived as genuine, they will like you more because you are validating how they feel about themselves. If you flatter someone who has low self-esteem, it may backfire and cause them to dislike you because it interferes with how they perceive themselves. Of course, this does not imply that you should belittle someone who has low self-esteem. Number 5. Mirroring. Trick: mirror their behavior. Mirroring, also known as mimicry, is a natural behavior of some people. Chameleons are people who try to blend into their surroundings by mimicking other people's behaviors, mannerisms, and even speech patterns. This skill, on the other hand, can be used consciously and is a great way to make yourself more likable. Researchers studied mimicry and discovered that those who had been mimicked were much more likely to befriend the person who had copied them. Even more intriguing was their second discovery: which revealed that those who had someone mimic their behavior were actually nicer and more agreeable to others in general, even those who were not involved in the situation. It is likely that this works, because mirroring someone's behavior makes them feel validated. While this validation is most likely to be associated with the person who validated them, they will have higher self-esteem and thus be more confident, happier, and well-disposed toward others. Number 6. Use tiredness. Trick: when someone is tired, ask for a favor. When someone is tired, they are more open to everything that is said to them, whether it is a statement or a request. The reason for this is that when people are tired, their mental energy levels drop as well as their physical energy levels. When you ask someone who is tired a request, you will most likely get "I'll do it tomorrow" response, because they don't want to deal with decisions right now. They are likely to follow through the next day, because people tend to keep their word. It is natural psychologically to want to follow through on something you said you would do. Number 7. Offer they can't refuse. Trick: begin with a request that they cannot refuse and work your way up. The door-in-the-face technique is reversed here. Instead of starting with a large request, you begin with a very small one. When someone has agreed to help you or agrees to something, they are more likely to agree to a larger request. This phenomenon was tested by scientists in the context of marketing. Number 8. Keep quiet. Trick: avoid correcting people when they are wrong. Carnegie also stated in his famous book that correcting someone is usually unnecessary and has the opposite effect of endearing them to you. There is a way to express disagreement and turn it into a polite conversation without telling someone they are wrong, which hurts their ego. The Ransberger pivot was invented by Ray Ransberger and Marshall Fritz. The idea is simple: instead of arguing, listen to what they have to say and then try to understand how and why they feel that way. Then you explain your common ground with them and use that as a jumping-off point to explain your position. This increases the likelihood that they will listen to what you have to say and allows you to correct them without losing face. Number 9. Repeat stuff back. Trick: paraphrase people and repeat back to them what they just said. One of the most effective ways to persuade others is to demonstrate that you truly understand how they feel, that you have genuine empathy for them. One of the most effective methods is to paraphrase what they say and repeat it back to them, a technique known as reflective listening. According to research, when therapists use reflective listening, people are more likely to disclose emotion and have a much better therapeutic relationship with the therapist. The easily transfers to conversing with your friends. They will feel more at ease talking with you if you listen to what they say and rephrase it as a question to confirm that you got it. They will also have a better relationship with you and are more likely to listen to what you have to say, because you demonstrated that you care about them. Number 10. Nod. Trick: nod a lot while you're talking, especially when you're about to ask for a favor. Researchers discovered that when people nod while listening to something, they are more likely to agree with it. They've also discovered that when someone in front of them is nodding a lot, it's natural for them to do the same. This is understandable given that humans are well known for mimicking behaviors, particularly those with positive connotations. So, if you want to be extra persuasive, nod frequently during the conversation. The person you're speaking with will find it difficult not to nod, and they will begin to feel agreeable to what you're saying without even realizing it. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next one.